Hi everyone, welcome back to DAVIRA'S Dark Side. Thank you for joining me. Does anyone remember in the last video about me talking about pumpkin or vine pumpkins, that I was gathering the vines that were growing on the trees and I was going to use those to make Halloween fun? So here I am gathering those vines and I'm trying to manipulate them into a shape of a circle, or it could be a wreath. You could actually use it as a wreath for your door, or you could use it as one part of the pumpkin vine that I'm about to create. They need to be long, they need to be flexible. Maybe if you gather a whole bunch of thin ones and one thick one to give it more structure. That's what I'm trying to do here. I'm looking at the vine, and what I've done is I'm just trying to figure out, okay, is this going to bend? If it bends, is it going to break? And actually the real test is when I try to bend it, and if it breaks, that's okay, just as long as it stays connected. So if it stays connected, I'll keep it, but if it breaks off, I'm not going to be able to keep it. So right now what I'm doing is I'm taking where you see I have this, it looks like the stem part. It makes a really good stem. It just, the circle, you have to take it at a certain angle. So the end of the vine will be the stem, and you just manipulate it into a circle, and if it goes around more than once, that's great. If it goes around just once, that's great too. I have a whole bunch of them in my hand. Absolutely. It's better to actually get a whole bunch. Now these vines are pretty flexible, so I can work well with them. Some of the vines I've had to submerge in water and soak for a couple of days. And you know what wood does when it's soaking, or what a vine will do when it's soaking. It expands, right? So that's good too. So I will gather them up like I'm doing here. It's not easy, these little buggers. They intertwine with each other, and sometimes it's really hard to find the ends. Sometimes it's really hard to separate. Okay, so that is the twine that I'm working with. This is florist twine. I actually had to go to a florist to buy this. I couldn't buy it anywhere else. And I tell you, this stuff is good. It does rust though. It's pretty strong. It's not expensive. I'd say about 10 bucks, maybe 20. You can use rope, like you can use anything really. Twist ties, whatever. Those plastic twist ties. I'm just using fluoro wire because that's what I have handy. So what I am doing here is I am securing it. I'm going to show you. And I don't have to tighten a bow or anything. It's flexible enough and strong enough to tie once or twice. and then just cut it off, and that's good. Then you put it on the ground and you just let it dry. So usually you can cut it with pliers or what have you, because the wire is very thin. So and there are a couple that I'm working with. So I would say maybe take one long vine and work with it and see how many circles you get from it. Just remember to hold on to the beginning of the vine so that that will make your stem of your pumpkin. And you will have to do this outside. If you have enough room inside your home, you can do that. That's up to you. It might make a mess, but that's okay. So there's my other one. Now you gotta keep your eye on how big your circle gets, because if it gets too big, you're gonna want to retrace your steps and redo it to make it smaller. But then again, if you want big and small, because like if you take a look at a pumpkin, the way that it grows, some sides are bigger than others, so it's what you prefer. It's how you prefer it. So see, that one's broken. Can I use it still? Because it still is attached. Yes, I can, so I'm going to use it. And then you get your ends. Sometimes you can twist those ends in the circle, and that actually helps with the structure. There's another broken one. Can I use that? Yep. No, I don't want it. Okay, I'm not going to use that one because it's too broken. So I will go through all of what I've got on the ground. Try to be gentle when you're pulling these things apart. When you're pulling the vines apart, just, yeah, try to not be too, I don't know, too hard on it, because there's a lot of vine there, but just try to be gentle with it, because it has been, like I said in my last video, if it's not a dead vine and it's a growing vine still and you're trimming it, then it's way more flexible. If it's a dry vine and you soak it, it will be flexible. If it's dry, you got to be really gentle with it because it will break. Okay, so there we go. I've got another one. Now I'm going to tie this off with my trusty floral wire. Make sure you have everything on hand. Like if you're wearing a jacket, put it in your pockets, because you don't want to set this down and undo all of the hard work that you've done. If you want to wear gloves while doing this, wear gloves. If not, and you prefer to do it by hand. I feel more with my hands than with when I'm wearing gloves. It's just, I don't know, that's just the way that I am. But I find gloves to be hard to work with. But your hands will get tired if you're not used to this. Your hands will get tired, so go as fast as you can. Unless you have strong hands. I don't have strong hands. Okay, so this is where you look to see where you're tying it off. Make sure that you're tying it off where you're going to use the stem. And sometimes you don't have to, but I prefer to tie off closer to the stem. If you want to tie it off in two places, make it even. You know, so okay, so there's the stem, you tie it off there, and then just directly across you tie off again. Okay, so bringing it inside, I will bring this inside because it's your preference really. Put this in. I find sometimes I work better indoors than I do outdoors because there's just different areas where I have my stuff. So if you wanna do it outside, that's fine. That's up to you. But I've brought mine in. So I'm gathering all of the wreaths that I've put together. They could be wreaths. They could be anything you want them to be. I'm just putting them together as fine pumpkins. So I've got about how many did I pick up there? Is that my fifth one? And I did say in my last video about 20. Let's bring that down to maybe 10. It all depends. It's your preference. So I think maybe I've got 4 there. Okay, so I'm using my trusty my trusty floral wire again. So I have put together 4. It's very bulky. It's almost kind of awkward. But don't worry. It's art, right? So I will put the floral wire around at least 4 or 5 times. And I will tie it off, but I won't secure it. I'll tie it off in a way where I can untie it. But I am going to try and tie it tight, just for structure. Later I can do it tighter. It all depends on how I want this to look. Okay, so try and spread them out. So when you're tying off in the core, tie it tight enough, but not too tight that you can't spread your pumpkin out. And if you want, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to put the orange, like, you can use purple, you can use whatever lights you want, but I'm using like orange Christmas lights. And I'm just gonna put them inside that there pumpkin. What I usually do is I usually spread the lights around to make it look more festive, to give it more shape, more dynamic, if I can use that word. I'm going to. So it's a good thing that these lights are the way that they are. You wouldn't be able to stick them through the vines so that they'll hold on to the vine. And with the vine being the way that it is, it's both good and bad. Because you can at least stick the lights in wherever you want and you know that they're going to stay, because the vines are so crooked. And there we go. We have power. So what I usually do is I fiddle around with it. I fiddle around with the lights. I bring them up so that they look fuller, more of a shape of the pumpkin. And see that thick part that I was holding onto there? Okay, so that is more, how do I say this? It's like a big line in the pumpkin that, you know, you get lines, not lines, but the shape of the pumpkin, how some of it is tighter than other parts, and you see a line in the pumpkin. Well, these thicker vines that are together, that are twisted together, make a line. And if you get more than one of those, then it really defines your pumpkin. It gives it more definition, and I find that that helps with the visual. Okay, so this is not completely done, but here you go. And as you see the ties, Again, I haven't tied it completely because I am going to add more. And yeah, it does look like a hot mess, but whatever. Can I use that? Can I say that? Hot mess? I just did, I guess, right? Okay. Well, thanks for joining me, and I hope that you liked the video. And click on the like button if you like it. Okay, bye.